What's up, people? It's your boy Finley Markez, and right now we're here in Lambeth. I'm not going to tell you exactly where we are, private location knowledge. But right now I'm here picking up my son from his football summer camp, and basically we're doing the next interview, which is with a fantastic friend of ours. He's my son's mentor, and his name is Lionel.
It's probably best to answer that question by how was Big first born and where did it come about. I've always used football as my tool to unofficially mentor young people, because those that know me and know me well know that there's two things I'm passionate about. One is football, and the other thing is helping young people achieve and reach their full potential. So it got to a point where back in 2010 I just felt like I wanted to do more. I just wanted to do more than what I was already doing with young people, so I decided to leave a long-standing career in the civil service, which was a successful and stable career, to get more involved in young people. But I didn't know how I wanted to do that. But one thing I wanted to do it with my print on it. I wanted to do it in a way where I could have maximum benefit and input within young people, because one of my skills is motivational skills. So it started with me dreaming up this program, which I call Shock, which is my leading motivational program, which I wanted to kind of address kids that I personally could relate to, kids that I knew, or like when I was at school, wasn't that academically inspired, used to get bored to learn in the traditional way in the classroom, but all I knew that I wasn't silly, and I knew that I could learn, just like a lot of kids out there, but maybe they just needed a little bit more motivation in helping them to develop that positive attitude to learning. So I came up with this program called Shock, which is basically part classroom, part outdoor activities, which is encouraging a more positive attitude to learning. And it was from then that I decided to put Big together, because obviously if I had a program that I wanted to deliver to this audience, I needed a name, I needed an organisation. So I came up with my company Big, Best is Inspirational Guidance, doing exactly what it says on the tin, trying to inspire and guide people as best as I can. It's not been an easy journey, and I wasn't sure where it was going, but one thing for definite, it was always going to include football, because I've always used football. Football's played a major, powerful role in my life, and it's also been quite effective in helping me trying to get through to the mindset of young people. As I said, I started Big in 2011. I didn't think it was going to take me as long to have a successful business, because it was all about serving the community, and it was all about, at that moment in time, Lionel Best as Big, Lionel Best trading as Big. It became quite obvious and clear once I developed my portfolio that there was a need for the Big services, and that Big needed to grow. If it didn't grow, it will stop, basically, because people need the services and it's impossible to deliver it as a one-man band. It has been tough. It has been a tough journey whilst I've been developing the portfolio, to the degree where I've had to make lots of sacrifices and doing a lot of things without a steady wage, which I was used to, as you can imagine, as a middle manager grade in the civil service, which I spent the last 10 years of my civil service career in. So it was always going to become, the next phase for Big was to grow Big, and I changed Big into a community interest company, incorporated it into a community interest company in 2018, where there's now another two directors who I can lean on to not only help support the business, but also make sure that the business is running in the right way. And now I've got a team of volunteers who are committed and have been really helpful in helping me deliver some of the programs and help me get to that next level. The next phase for Big is to delivering the rolling out its new project, which I'm really excited about, is the Youth Social Actions Volunteer Scheme. And that scheme is all about helping the young adults, the more vulnerable young adults, the ones that mainly fall under needs, that are not in employment, education or training, don't feel that there's much of a future for them, ain't got much motivation to get out there and get anything, maybe ain't got much qualifications, and it's helping them and giving them hope to get their lives going again. And what the scheme's about, the scheme is going to offer two main components that's going to give them the tools to get their lives going. It's going to give them really important work experience, employability skills. It's going to give them basic qualifications in definitely English and maths, which they need to then be able to catapult onto other things in their chosen pathway. And if those that have got English and maths were thinking about other sort of general basic qualifications such as business skills that we want to give them. The main thing that gives me satisfaction when I'm mentoring kids is seeing them succeed. What that word succeed means could be interchangeable depending on what young person you're working with. And as far as I'm concerned, the main thing I always want young people to know is that they have an X factor, and they need to believe that they have an X factor, and and they have to understand what the X factor is and how can they use that X factor to help them to achieve and succeed in life. There's a lot of people in academy football that are in academy football because they start off in pre-academy, which is an easier kind of place to be without judgment, but it's not so easy to get into if you're not part of a particular circle. And one thing I've realised when I see youngsters come in, when I was at Crystal Palace, that there's a lot of young people in the community that they just need support and help and development on the mental side of their game rather than the technical side of the game, and that's where I prefer to be, helping changing mindsets to help them get to the place that they need to get to. Football coaching is a powerful tool to help mentor and guide young footballers, because I don't think football's the only thing. I think everybody has their own tools, just like what I said in the new initiative that I'm involved in. Some of the other professionals use their tools, like there's an organisation called Groove School where they use making music, mentor kids, and other people are using film and editing and dance, etc. But I think, for me, football coaching is a fantastic tool and vehicle to do that. I think the most important thing to always remember, that I try to remember, and because I can sometimes occasionally lose sight of it, is the reason I'm doing this is, one, because I love football, two, because I love helping young people develop, and especially developing something that I like and something that I believe that they're good at. So it's always important for me to remember, whatever coaching sessions that I'm organising, that I'm delivering, that I have that young audience interest at the core of everything that I'm doing. Because sometimes, and you see it more on the academy level, where if you're coaching just for yourself, there's some fantastic coaches you heard me say at academy level, but are they actually getting through to the young person? Are they actually having an impact on the young person? Are they actually developing the young person? I don't know, because I think one of the things that you have to try and do is transfer the knowledge that you have and the skills that you have into somebody else to help them get the best of what they want to do. And if you kind of got a kind of self-indulging sort of kind of mindset or characteristics about the way you're coaching, you're actually just coaching for yourself rather than for the other. So that's one of the first things that I would always say to any coach, just make sure that whatever you do, whatever you plan, however you're communicating, is aimed at having the best interest of your audience at heart. Yeah, I'm actually quite excited about the future for Big and Lionel Best, because now it's time to hand over to the youngsters for me. Big's always been about the youngsters, servicing the youngsters, and that's why I'm excited about this new project, because the project is aimed at kind of now developing some new leaders and creating job opportunities for some young people, because the aim now is for Lionel to step away,
not too soon,
and for young people to come and deliver the services under Big with the young and kind of more modernised kind of creative way. For me, it is all about kind of just helping, guiding young people to I call it the big print, but for most people, most like-minded people, it's actually common sense. It's just making sure that everything you do, some of the things that we're talking about, is you do it with empathy. You don't just do it as a job. If you're delivering work experience, you're delivering it because you care and you want to help those young people develop employability skills. So if I'm looking at young people to take over that, young adults to take over that 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, they will have to be at a certain mindset so they can help be good leaders to the young 14 and 15-year-olds. And same with my football services, and same with the motivation and leadership programs. I can just see there's going to be a lot of services being delivered around the different boroughs, starting from the local boroughs, the Lambeths that I tend to do a lot of work in, and Lewisham and Southwark, and then spreading out, all full up with young people delivering the services for Big. Yeah, well, Big needs a lot of support. We need support. It's interesting because, like, one of your earlier questions is where do you see Big, what do you want to do with Big? And for the last few years, Big's always needed to grow, but it's been really quite challenging to grow because you're in a catch-22 situation where I know with the portfolio of services that has been delivered and been quite good at measuring its impact, the services of Big will be needed. But to actually generate the services that it needs to generate revenue, you need resources. But to get resources, you need revenue. So Big's always been in the catch-22 situation when it comes to that. So, like most small businesses and micro businesses, it needs resources, it needs funding, it needs money to get off the ground in some of the exciting projects that, like the big social action volunteer scheme that we want to get off the ground. But what has been pleasing is there's been a lot of people that has just all of a sudden coming together and offering me their expertise and experiences. We have a parent of one of the kids who have attended my services, who out of the blue asked me if I needed help with funding because he's got experience in funding. That's what he does, and it's been fantastic. He's helped me with a couple, because until we get an injection of funding to get things really off the ground, it's really going to be hard for Big to take off and to impact positively on so much of the young people in this community that I know our services will benefit.
Well, Lion, you know you got my backing and support, and I just want to say thank you. You are one of my inspirations. Thanks for the interview, my friend.
Thank you very much for your perseverance.
Nice.
Thank you.
We can shake hands again.